Good evening. Here is the world news from BGI TV. Today, 16th day, the month of September 2022. I am Rrør Rabila Lawal. The first are the major headlines for the world news. Alaafin stool or your Messi shortlist 10 out of 65. It's unrealistic to leave education funding to government alone, or Shibadro. FG versus ASUU, again, court adjourns case. Boko Haram chief executioner and family surrender to troops in Borno State. Terrorists attack communities in President Buhari State, kill one. Kogi businessman released after 2 months in kidnappers' den. Hospital with old corpse of 12-year-old over 400,000 hospital bill. And on foreign story, 7 killed in Italy storms. Finally, on sports, Leicester City must end barren run against Tottenham. Now the news in detail. The Oyo Traditional Council, Oyo Messi, has disclosed that 10 aspirants have been shortlisted for interview out of 65 contestants that appeared for screening for the Alaafin stool. Director of Media and Publicity to the Alaafin of Oyo, Mr. Bode Durujai, made this confirmation in a press statement issued on Friday. According to the statement, the council concluded sittings on interview for aspirants on Thursday. The statement added that 10 aspirants will be presented before the IFA Oracle for consultation in the next phase of the process. The regent, who is the Bashono of Oyo, Chief Yusuf Layinka, said out of the 65 aspirants, only 10 were qualified for the interview stage. He said that members of the Oyo Messi would soon meet to deliberate on the next step, which is the IFA consultation. He said whoever emerges among the shortlisted aspirants will be the candidate and the next Alaafin of Oyo. Meanwhile, the regent has a collection of 200,000 naira from each aspirant and representation of one of the Oyo Messi during the interview period. He described the 200,000 naira claim as misinformation credited on social media. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo has said it is very unrealistic for the citizens and corporate bodies to leave the funding of tertiary education alone to the government, and has therefore challenged them to rise to the occasion and support education with their resources. He said this yesterday while speaking as a special guest of honor at the launch of the 50 billion naira endowment fund for the Yaba College of Technology, Yaba Tech in Lagos. Osinbajo, who spoke virtually, said for the tertiary institutions to achieve their mandate, well-meaning individuals and corporate bodies must assist them. I really appreciate and support what the premier higher institution in Nigeria, the Yaba College of Technology, is doing, launching 50 billion naira endowment fund. American colleges have been supported by endowment for over 200 years. For instance, Harvard in 2020 got over 42 billion US dollars in endowment. Yale University got $31 billion. And Stanford University got 29 billion US dollars. Moving on to ASUU ongoing strike. Recall that the court had summoned FG and the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASUU, to appear before it on Monday in Abuja over the 7-month-old strike. But at the first hearing, Justice Polycarp Aman adjourned the matter till Friday, September 16th today, to enable both parties to file the necessary papers for the suit. However, at the resumed sitting on Friday, the court announced that the case is further adjourned till next week, Monday. The counsel to the FG, James Igwe, earlier asked the court to give the suit an accelerated hearing due to urgency of the matter to enable the student to return to school. Igwe told the court that since the matter was already in court, it would be proper for the strike to be called off, pending the determination of the suits. Two forms of insecurity rocking the nation so far. Balu Dawaye was said to have surrendered alongside his family members on Monday in Baiki, Bama LGA of Borno State. According to Zagazola Makama, a publication focused on the Lake Chad region, Balu Badaye was Boko Haram's chief executioner who has killed at least 1,000 people who were captured and sentenced to death by the group. A source told the publication that Bula, known to be an official who carried out sentence of death on condemned persons, captured military men and civilians when Abubakar Shekau was leader of the Boko Haram sect. Balu reportedly formed a camp in Kote village of Banki where he was hiding with other fighters. He was said to have surrendered due to the sustained offensive launched by troops of Operation Adinkari. It was difficult for him to access food and other logistics as essential, coupled with the flooding which already ravaged most of their settlement. He also feared battlefield elimination by ISWAP, a source was quoted. Still on attacks. As the security situation in Katsina state continues to escalate, Islamic terrorists are reportedly invaded Bakiyawa community in Batagarawa local government area of the state, killing one person and abducting about 50 persons. The terrorists who have been terrorizing forests in the Batsari local government area were reported to have launched the attack on Wednesday night, going from house to house. AIT report that apart from the abductions and killings, 4 people were injured. Katsina is the home state of Nigeria's president and commander-in-chief of the armed forces, Muhammadu Buhari. However, it has become a hotbed of terrorist activities in recent years. The recent attack, according to the media outlet, took place at about 11 p.m. when the resident had gone to sleep. The terrorists reportedly arrived in the community riding over 40 motorcycles and shooting indiscriminately. Then they went from house to house, demanding money and asking for the breadwinners of the families. It was gathered that about 60 animals were also rustled, while the terrorists faced no resistance as they operated freely for about 3 hours. Meanwhile, the deceased person, simply identified as Tukur Gambo, has since been buried. Moving on to Kogi State from Katsina. Al-Adi Mohammed Jamiu, a businessman in the hands of his abductors for over 2 months, has finally regained freedom. Jamiu was abducted in his residence in Idare quarters in Okene local government area of Kogi State during the Salah celebration on the 9th July 2022. Shortly after he returned from Eid praying ground, posing as business associate, his abductors entered his residence where he was kidnapped. A source confirmed to Daily Post that the abductors released the victim on Thursday night. Though the money paid before his release is not known, the source explained that a reasonable sum was paid to the kidnappers. According to the source, they just released our brother Al-Adi Mohammed Jami Idris. We have been praying for over 2 months to see that this come to pass. Even though the money was paid, we thank Almighty Allah he came back alive. The source added that it is not the first time Jamiu, the owner of Always Petroleum and Energy Services Limited, had an encounter with kidnappers. He was said to have been kidnapped in 2019 in Okene in one of his fuel stations, but was rescued by military operatives after a few days in captivity, with one officer and kidnapper killed in the encounter. From that story, we go to another story. The University of Benin Teaching Hospital, UBTH, has held on to the corpse of a 12-year-old girl, Glory Ekelaede, over the inability of her parents to offset the hospital bill. The family, the news agency of Nigeria, NAN, gathered in the hospital on 15 July during an illness. NAN learned that the cost of her treatment accumulated to 400,000 naira. A source said the inability to pay forced the hospital to seize the remains of the deceased teenager. The bereaved father, Samson, 66, lamented that his daughter's ailment had thrown the family into financial crisis. He said the family borrowed to pay hospital bills and other sundry expenses. The peasant farmer, whose wife is a petty trader, said the family barely eats again as all their resources had been expended on their daughter before she passed on. Moving on to the foreign story. At least 7 people died when violent storms lashed central Italy and flooded roads and homes, authorities told AFP on Friday. 3 people were missing, including a 6-year-old child traveling in the car. The mother was rescued, but the child was washed away by the flood water, the AGI news agency said. According to the local prefecture, the professional death toll is 7. The 7th body has been found, a civil protection agency spokesman said, confirming reports in the local media. The worst hit area was Ancona, a porty city in the Adriatic, where several areas were without electricity or telephone connections. Schools were closed Friday in the affected zones. The storms also lashed neighboring Umbria. The Corriere della Sera newspaper said about 400 millimeters, 16 inches of rain fell in 2 hours, about the quantity normally recorded in 6 months in this zone. If you're just joining, you are watching the world news from BGI TV. And lastly, on sports. Kelechi Iheanacho insists Leicester City will strive to end their winless streak in the Premier League this season when they take on Tottenham Hotspur this weekend. Brendan Rodgers charges will look to get their season on track when they travel to Tottenham Hotspur Stadium on Saturday night. The Foxes are at the bottom of the log and are still searching for the first win of the campaign. Defeat to Antonio Conte's men could spell doom for Rodgers, who is under intense pressure following the team's poor start to the campaign. But Iheanacho believes the former Premier League champions can turn things around with a win in London. It will be massive, so massive for the club and everyone involved, Iheanacho told LCTV. A win will give us the momentum to go forward this season. We need to defend as a team, attack as a team, and just work hard as a team to win. That concludes the world news from BGI TV. Before we go, some quick headlines. Alaafin Stool or Your Mercy shortlist 10 out of 65. It's unrealistic to leave education funding to government alone, or Shibajo. And on ASUU, FG versus ASUU. Again, court adjourns case. And finally, on sport, Leicester City must end barren run against Tottenham Hotspur. Iheanacho. For more updates on YouTube, our handle is Baba Gbagede Imo TV. Kindly subscribe, click on the notification bell, select option all to access all of our broadcasts. On Facebook, Gbagede Imo with Alawiye Adebayo. Please like and follow the page for you to enjoy our broadcast as well. On Instagram, Gbagede Imo_22. For advert placement of your goods and services, coverage of event and function, please dial the phone number streaming on the screen for advert placement only. Thank you for watching. I am Morire Prebila Lawal.
Oh, na, na, na. If you want to know what's going on in city, or you want to listen to the latest news and gist, no stress, oh, just tune to BGI TV. BGI TV, you're one in a million.